We have some exciting things ahead that we want to share with you, and a few people to share them with you. You have all contributed a huge amount over the last few days through the expertise that you've brought, the insights, the intelligence, the suggestions, the recommendations, the whiteboards, the drinking at the cocktails, which I think everyone seemed to enjoy. And we now have quite a path ahead of us in terms of making sense of that, making sure that we're looking for our blind spot, and thinking about how do we take the essence of what has been a very special few days and turn it into some practical courses for action. So, you will hear from us. Give us a little bit of time to recover, but you will hear from us. And what I want to say is this is your ecosystem, so the participation is up to you guys. How much you want to throw yourselves into this, how much you want to take value from the experience that you've had, how much you want to keep part of this beating heart that we call IDEA. Please just show it in your actions. Email us, jump into Pulse, connect with each other. We can't always be the ones to create the space, but hopefully this has given you the opportunity to think about who you want to create space with after this. So, we have a few things coming up that we're excited about. And the first one, I'm going to invite Abby from the Judith Neilson Foundation. Once again, round of applause because she came from Australia. Abby, over to you. Oh, you don't need that. There you go.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. Real pleasure to be here. I am going to try and be both succinct and coherent. So that's not neither of those are my forte, so wish me luck. But it's a real pleasure to be here with you all. I mean, I can't help but share a couple of reflections on the last few days, which, as Tom mentioned, I came a long way for, which is, I've spent a few years outside these networks, and it's amazing coming back in and seeing just how far they've come. We used to organize events like this. I used to organize events like this, and they were show and tell. They were showing off as donors the innovations that we'd found and the great work they were doing, or they were donors talking to each other. And it was never this kind of combination of people in the room really pushing the envelope and doing things differently. And I think when you're in it, it can feel like really slow, frustrating work. But after, I've only been away for 2 years, and this has all changed a lot. And that's really exciting to see. I do have some notes to try and keep me on point, as I said, not my forte. But yeah, so I'll introduce myself again. As Tom said, my name's Abby Taylor. I'm from the Judith Neilson Foundation. We're a private philanthropy based in Australia, and I've joined the foundation at the beginning of the year to set up our innovation portfolio. So it's a brand new area of work for us, and we are focused in innovation on better urban futures. So, supporting innovation that can make cities more livable, more inclusive, more resilient, and more joyful. And I'm a little bit obsessed with joy because I think, particularly in cities, these are places all over the world where people come to find opportunity and a better life. And often people find opportunity, but maybe not so much a better life. So this is what we're here for. We're really open-minded about what innovation is, tech or non-tech, international and local, or commercial, non-commercial, but what we really care about is innovation that's really very deeply rooted in place. It maybe brings together the best of traditional wisdom and frontier knowledge, and we're really excited about collaboration. So you can imagine as soon as we met with the IDEA team and the MLC team, this really very deep alignment around the opportunity and the need to really replenish this collaboratorium that we all so deeply rely on and are fueled by. So we're really delighted to be announcing today a new fund, the African Cities Innovation Fund, which will be a small collaboration grants program. It will launch early in the new year, focused on innovation for cities in Africa. So thinking, the pace of change and growth here is extraordinary in cities, and we really need to move fast to make sure that these places remain and become even more so places where people can thrive and be happy. So looking for innovations that are, helping to ensure that these places are climate resilient in terms of their, the actual spatial environment, thinking about circularity and waste, places where people can be safe, places where there's great economic opportunity for young people, places that are accessible, where mobility is better. So we think about this really broadly, which is kind of terrifying, but it's also a response to this challenge of innovation following the funding. We're really trying to create a space where the funding can follow the innovation. So, let's see how that will work. I realize I'm over time, so I'll tell you quickly just, what this actually means in practice. So we'll be funding partnerships between members of the Million Lives Collective and whoever makes sense for them, whether that's public sector, private sector, or other innovators to find new scaling pathways, new kind of generative opportunities for their innovations. And we'll start by having an open call to attract new members to the Million Lives Collective who are really working in this space. And that'll happen in the new year. There's information about that on Pulse already, and you can register for updates. And then in the spring, we'll follow with a call for applications. So they'll be kind of led by members from the Million Lives Collective and able to partner within and beyond that network. And I think, we have all recognized these few days just how important collaboration is, but how hard it is. So the idea of these grants is to just create space for exploration within new partnerships to see what's possible, to test and learn and fail and try again really quite rapidly. So that's what we're hoping to do with this. We're super excited about it, and not to repeat proverbs that we all know and probably repeat too often, but I think within this work it's really a sense of, we know that if you want to go far, go alone. If we want to go fast, go alone. If we want to go far, go together. But what we actually want to do is we want to go far, and we also want to go quite fast. So, let's see how we can use these as kind of sparks of inspiration and opportunity to catalyze some of that action. And I'll stop talking there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Abby. And let me invite Nazri. Nazri, come here, just to give us a little sense. Now, this is a little bit more about the bird with the head looking back and the feet going forward, because this actually happened how long ago? 3 weeks? 3 weeks? When Nazri was in my position of organizing a much bigger conference, to be honest, and she did it with such panache and such beauty that I was inspired. And I just wanted to invite you very briefly to talk about the partnership and the fact that we launched it 3 weeks ago, but some of the things that we might be doing together going forward next year.
Thank you so much, Tom. And it's such a pleasure having been part of these days with you. We've learned so much about this network, about the passion in the room, about the challenge, but the opportunity as well. It was very easy for us to see where we fit into the IDIA framework. The way I've been explaining it to some people in the room is, imagine IDIA, but for Africa. So it's a very clear, succinct way of understanding that we offer value to each other through the members, through the networks that we have. And going forward, yes, as you can see, there was a really nice photo op moment a couple of weeks ago at our conference. And we want to be really, how can I say, those partners who are all up in your face and you're kind of questioning why you decided to be their partner. That might be us. Because we really want to leverage all this knowledge, all this passion, not just from the IDIA members, but from our own members. We have about 70 members across Africa, and it's growing. We're able to convene different players working across the continuum of capital on the continent. And we're also able to develop knowledge around not just innovation, but drivers for innovation, for sectors and thematic focus areas that are really at the intersection of the work that you're all doing, and be able to house that for you a little bit better. Be a friend where you need us to be a friend. Be a critical friend where you need us to be critical, and hopefully be an ally to the amazing work we all want to be able to do, because this is important work. And I don't know whether, I know we've talked about how hard it is. We've talked about the challenge of kind of the navel gazing we can do with it. We've talked about how potentially you should just share it. If you want to do it, you need to do it with others. We know we have a vision to go forward, and as a partner network, as an ecosystem builder as well, there couldn't be, from where I'm standing, a better partner than all of you in this room in IDIA as a network. So it's such a pleasure and an honor to be part of this network. And look out for, I think, a couple of interesting things coming out of this over the next couple of months. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nasri. We are super excited about this partnership. And we also have another partnership that we're going to celebrate at the moment that is coming up. Thanks to Ben, who is going to talk to us, because we are bringing, I think, close to 5,000 more people, and this is over to you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here with you all, and I want to apologize. I'm not quite sure why I didn't get a picture and this really word-heavy slide. This is about, firstly, existing partnership between a network that's a, closed-door network for members of the OECD Development Assistance Committee that brings together 32 countries, plus the EU. And out of those 33 DAC members, we have 24 countries represented, the heads of innovation from ministries and implementing agencies. And there's an overlap with the membership of IDIA, as Canada, the UK, and Germany are members of both networks. And the OECD network brings together really small funders, Lithuania, Poland, medium-sized funders such as Switzerland, Belgium, and then heavy hitters such as the UK FCDO, mainly for peer learning, knowledge sharing, and we've been working with IDIA over the last years and will continue doing so. You see some of the thematic areas of focus. And for some of our peer learning seminars, we opened the doors, and currently we're having, and sorry for those who heard this yesterday, an ongoing peer learning seminar series on innovation ecosystem strengthening, to which you're all cordially invited. There will be a technical two-day meeting in March in Paris to really advance the practice, predominantly of funders, thinking about ecosystem strengthening, but we also have a collaboration with the Innovation Agencies in Africa network, and had the pleasure to welcome Dr. Tony at our last seminar. Looking into the future, we are launching a sister network for either you or colleagues of yours who work on digital public infrastructure and digital public goods. That will bring together international funders working on DPI and DPGs. And having seen some of IDA plans, particularly on the One Health front, I think there might be really good opportunities for collaboration in the future. I want to give a specific shout out to one of the things we co-developed. We've been working together on peer learning seminars. IDA has contributed, or we've used, for example, the IDA scaling framework for a methodology that we deliver with our team for funders on setting up an innovation portfolio management system. But we've worked together on a piece of work which is the DAC scaling guidance. And we've done so with colleagues from the OECD Evaluation Network and the results community of the OECD DAC, not to kind of put something radically new on paper. You are all experienced innovation practitioners. If you read that DAC scaling guidance, I'm pretty sure there won't be radical new insights. But it's approved by this committee, right? This OECD committee. So in other words, I encourage you to look up the DAC scaling guidance and use it as a conversation support mechanism when you speak to bilateral funders. Speaking to the UK, speaking to Germany, they approved this, they signed up to this. And an element of it is to really call upon funders to invest in the enabling environments, to invest in strengthening innovation ecosystems, and to be laser focused on business models, right? Too often sustainability is insufficiently considered, and we don't think about, well, easy to ask but hard to operationalize questions such as, if this works, who will fund and who will implement in 10 to 15 years? And those questions are being raised in that guidance, and we've worked with colleagues from, for example, the Swiss Development Cooperation Agency, the Belgian agency, and many others on this, and huge thanks to those colleagues who are part of this and to IDIA. And that leads me to the next new partnership that I'm here to announce. If you can go on to the slide, because I'm also part of the executive committee on what's called the Global Community of Practice on Scaling Development Outcomes. Co-founded about 10 years ago, and you see some of the major stats. That community of practice has a good number of working groups with always 2 co-chairs coming from different organizations, and I know some of you are already part of this global community on scaling development outcomes. It's really a place to advance the field of scaling, and my colleagues from the Secretariat invest quite a bit in research, and we have been collaborating not only in the DAC scaling guidance, but also on a set of case studies on how international funders, DAC members, some philanthropies, the World Bank, have institutionalized scaling, right? And way too often scaling is still being thought about, oh, we trained 20,000 young people with employment skills. Let's scale it up, throw more money at the problem and train 100,000 people, when the scale of the problem is 5 million. That's what we frame as incremental scaling. That should not be done anymore, right? If we think about transformational scaling, it should be about how do we design a business model where these, if effective, trainings have a sustainable model to be run by local actors, be self-sustained with a commercial business model, supported by the government, whatever the scaling pathway might be, but an unfold impact at sustainable scale. The invitation is to A, check out the website, sign up to be part of a member, choose a working group, and also B, reach out to us at the Global Community on Scaling Development Outcomes for a now starting campaign, which really seeks to engage senior leaders, and we have done quite a bit. We had quite a high-level meeting recently, convened by the French Development Agency, together with IDIA, among others, to engage senior decision-makings in tough questions. Are you making yourself accountable for impact at scale in your strategies? How do you operationalize it in program and strategy? And the list goes on. So this will be a campaign where we can really use your involvement pretty much no matter where you work in the IDIA kind of different segments. And with that invitation and with my pleasure on behalf of the Secretariat as part of the Executive Committee to announce this partnership, I say thanks to Tom and the team, thanks to all of you, and over to you.
Thank you, Ben. If you've not met Ben, you need to meet Ben. Ben is super well connected and just super brilliant to have a conversation with, especially over a beer. You never know what you're going to end up with, but I do recommend it. Okay, I think we have 2 more things. Emmeline or Katuchi? Katuchi's here. Katuchi, another new partner network.
Thank you so much, Tom. Okay. So thank you so much. My name is Katuchi, and I'm here representing the Kenya Innovation Ecosystem Funders Forum. For those who do not know us, we are a forum that brings together about 11 grant makers who are helping strengthen the Kenya Innovation Ecosystem. We have all aligned our priorities around the Kenya Innovation Master Plan. A few months ago, the IDIA team reached out to us. And while they work at a global level, they were very interested in some of the work that we were doing at a local level to help align our funding priorities with the Kenya Innovation Master Plan. And they wanted to explore what would be the opportunities for us to collaborate, or what would be for the opportunities for them to scale their program locally and contextualize it through the KIF model. And it's been months of conversations, and I think for me, coming into this meeting, one of the things that I have seen is that I understand why we've had these conversations. I see values around collaboration. I see values around the diversity that is in this room that's committed to really strengthening the innovation ecosystems in which you work in. And I really look forward to really unpacking what this collaboration with IDIA looks like. While here it seems like it's a new partnership, we know what we are going to do. I think the hard work starts from this conversation, where we now want to unpack to really understand what would this look like to ensure that we stay true to some of the words that were articulated by the people that were in the session here in the afternoon yesterday. And some of those words that we will carry with us as KIF, as we go to think about how this looks like. There was a lot of mention around co-creation. There was a lot of mention around contextualization and there was a lot of mention around sustainability in the efforts that we put in place. We hope that as we start this journey, we stay true to those words, we stay true to those visions that you laid out for us, and we look forward to unpacking this together. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, Katuchi. I'm now going to call one of my oldest, although no, that sounds really rude, my longest friendships within IDEA, the wonderful Mwihaki Muruguri, who not only many of you know as being part of our IDEA training faculty, but is also the co-chair with Gordon of our Global Innovation Advisor Network. And maybe something you didn't know, it was her birthday yesterday. So, and she didn't even say anything. So can we just say happy birthday? Not singing, no, because we've got a choir out there and they're going to be like, stop. No, we'll do that. But happy birthday, please. Round of applause for Mwihaki.
Hello. How are we all? We're almost there. We're like the final lap. We're getting there, guys. And this all the, excitement about what's coming up should be exciting for us because this is how we continue to engage. Now, where are my alumni? Training alumni. Story of me, story of? And story of? Okay. I have a few students who still remember. As for the rest of you, see me after this. So, my role as part of the faculty is to help institutions, individuals, organizations think about how they tell their stories. So it's befitting that as I stand here, I must do what? Tell a story using the framework that I know and have taught many, many times. So our training in 2019 took place in the northern part of Sweden, in a place called Härnösand. It was in June, and it was almost midsummer. Now, if you love literature, you might have come across a certain play called A Midsummer Night's Dream, right? I had read this, I had watched this on TV. I did not understand it until I was in Härnösand in June of 2019. Why? Because this is my hometown, Nairobi. In Nairobi, doesn't matter what time of the year it is, there are 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of night, of darkness, throughout the year. Whether it's during our winter in July or our summer in December. In Härnösand in June, there are 22 hours of sunlight and 2 hours of dark. I now understood Shakespeare's conundrum. You go mad. Okay, I went mad. In fact, all the people from within the two tropics were like, can we please have, eye masks and blackout? We can't sleep with all this light. And it was very confusing and discombobulating for some of us. But what I took away from that experience was only in this sort of environment could a clock have been developed. Where I come from, because we have 12 hours of sunlight, no matter what type of the year, how do we count time? The first hour, the second hour, the third hour, the fourth hour. In most of our languages from around here, Samoja, Sambili, the sixth hour is noon, which is when the sun is overhead, always. Context matters when it comes to innovation. We would have never invented a clock. Because why? We don't need it. We always have the steadiness of time, no matter what time of the year it is. When I think about why sometimes innovation doesn't quite work, it's because context is missing. And the translators of context are not there. And this is what the Global Innovation Advisors are. The people who are from the locations where the work happens and therefore are able to see, to translate, to unlock both the partnerships, the networks, the language, the barriers, the politicians, that makes the work not just happen, but it accelerates. And we had an interesting conversation about this sometimes. You know, to get an engine going, you need oil, right? And that's who the Global Innovation Advisors are. It's a collective and a community of individuals who know the places, who know the work, who know the barriers, and are willing to invest time, energy, and money to make your work come alive. You need them, our community needs them, and right now where we are is that we're opening a new call for people to engage with the Global Innovation Advisors community, to sign up. So if you're in the areas of One Health, sustainable livelihoods, or thank you, just making sure that you're still here, or urban futures, and you know that you have things to offer and put on the table, ideas, networks, people, collaborations, and you want to work with people who are trying to do hard stuff in a new location where you have that expertise, please join our community. Sometimes we lean on people to offer advice. Sometimes we call on our advisors to be consultants. But at all times, what we're trying to do is make sure that the right oil is in the engine to make it all make sense and make sense fast. There's no need for us to suffer in this work, not when we have a diverse community as this. So please, Story of Now, join, okay? Sign up, January, the call opens. But before that, actually, you can even sign up now, right? On the website, www.ideainnovation.org/GIA.
Thank you, Miheki. That was indeed a very strange training in daylight all the time, but it also explains a lot why Johan is slightly weird. I want to finish by inviting the lovely Jake from the team, who's basically the architect behind Pulse. Can we please give him a round of applause? He's the guy who's using tech to bring you together, and he's going to give you a tiny glimpse of what lies ahead.
Thanks, Tom. I want to start by just saying thanks so much for everyone, being so on board with the last-minute sign-ups at the desk on Monday morning. Like we've tried to emphasize, this platform is really the kind of digital infrastructure for the collaboration of IDEA going forwards. I think the bigger the community, the bigger the potential for impact, but at the same time, the harder the collaboration. So this is really looking to streamline that. There'll be so much more in terms of onboarding and familiarizing each of you with the platform in the weeks to come. We'll be doing onboarding calls, user feedback surveys to ensure it's refined in need with your ongoing kind of needs between your respective communities and the wider ecosystem. But we've got a few features that we're rolling out in probably Q1 of next year, depending on how we go. We've got an opportunities dashboard. So this is sort of a one-stop shop for curated funding, training, and employment opportunities from across the ecosystem. So we're really looking to kind of nurture talent and development within IDEA because it's such a unique ecosystem. We don't want people kind of drifting off into thousands of other places. We want them kind of within our ecosystem and bringing those other partners and networks into this ecosystem as it kind of continues to grow and strengthen. So this will feature kind of, at the moment, 3 kind of main portals. So a grants and funding portal for any kind of MLC calls like we've just had, development agency opportunities, and then we've got jobs and consulting. So that will be a place for all of you to kind of come to us with any jobs that you have to share within the IDEA ecosystem for others to kind of jump on. And then training and development, we're really looking to aggregate a lot of the sort of course content that a lot of you have developed on your own and host it within this platform. So we'll be putting out a call for that content next year so we can kind of make it all filterable and searchable. And, if you're looking to learn about, strengthening innovation ecosystems, or you want to deepen your knowledge on scaling through the public sector, that content will be there. Secondly, we'll be launching the IDEA Learning Journeys. So these are kind of curated portfolios of content from our global knowledge outputs. So any knowledge that is developed by IDEA going forwards out of our communities, out of our collaboration labs, we will be putting it into these customizable courses, which are really designed to meet the needs of our community and kind of the scale and the pace of the challenge that we're facing. It will be informed predominantly by IDEA training alumni community outputs and insights, allowing sustained engagement after our alumni complete their trainings. And we'll be putting out a call again in January to kind of build that module out in partnership with selected ecosystem members based on their programmatic expertise. Yeah, those are just two of the many features that we'll be rolling out. Pulse is very much a work in progress at the moment. It is an innovation, and it really depends on you guys and your engagement with it to make it what it can be. Like I said, it's going to be the kind of digital infrastructure for a lot of our meetings going forwards. So it's really, really important that all of you are on it to really bring it to life.